You hear the name Einstein, and what do you think of? Genius, right? Maybe you picture that quirky old man with the wild white hair. But what if I told you that image is, well, it's mostly a myth? Today, we're going to peel back the layers and meet the real person behind that global icon. So let's just start with this question right here. What if that familiar image of the gentle, absent-minded sage is just a caricature? What if the real man was way more complex, way more passionate, and a whole lot more rebellious than we've ever been led to believe? Okay, let's just tear these myths down one by one. The idea that he failed math? Nope, not even close. The guy had mastered calculus by the time he was 15. And that gentle, absent-minded professor? The reality is he was a fiery, rebellious man who, get this, had some seriously intense temper tantrums as a kid. And you've got to understand, this rebellious streak wasn't just some teenage phase for him. It was the engine for his genius. I mean, this was a man who was just fundamentally wired to question everything. And that instinct to defy authority is exactly what let him defy the established laws of physics. He absolutely hated the rigid, by-the-book German schools he grew up in. You can almost feel his sigh of relief in this quote, right? It's from after he went to a school in Switzerland that actually valued independent thought. For him, this wasn't just about school, it was a lifelong battle against blindly following orders. And his rebellion? Oh, it started early. His own sister said that as a little kid, he had such a temper that he once chucked a chair at his tutor. The tutor just fled and never came back. So yeah, not exactly the quiet, thoughtful child from the posters. And that defiance, of course, carried right into his university years. He'd clash with his professors, skip classes he thought were a waste of time, and fell head over heels for a fellow physics student, Mileva Maric, who his family absolutely could not stand. He even graduated fourth in a class of 5. The establishment just had no idea what to do with him. So what happens when you're a rebel genius who can't even land a basic teaching gig? Well, you end up as a clerk in the Swiss patent office. And it was from that quiet, unassuming desk that he launched a revolution that would completely rewrite the rules of the universe. Now, I want you to burn this year into your memory, 1905. It is without a doubt one of the most important dates in the entire history of science. They call it his Annus Mirabilis, which is Latin for miracle year. And you have to picture this. He's working a day job as a patent examiner, and in his spare time, he publishes 4 papers that just turn physics completely on its head. Just think about the sheer scale of this for a second. In one single year, he does all of this. He lays the groundwork for quantum theory. He proves once and for all that atoms are real. He completely redefines our understanding of space and time with special relativity. And then, almost like a little cherry on top, he drops the most famous equation in history. Any one of these would be a Nobel Prize-worthy career-defining achievement. He did all 4 in 12 months. It's just staggering. And this equation, my gosh, the most famous in the world, it unlocked this incredible secret about the cosmos. That mass is really just a super concentrated form of energy. They're just 2 sides of the same cosmic coin. To put that into perspective, the energy that is locked inside a single raisin could, in theory, power all of New York City for a full day. It's mind-bending. So after 1905, Einstein isn't some unknown patent clerk anymore. Not by a long shot. He's on a trajectory to his greatest scientific triumph. But it's a path that's also going to lead to unbelievable global fame and immense personal heartbreak. He called this his happiest thought. Okay, picture a bowling ball on a trampoline. It makes a big dip in the fabric, right? Now, if you roll a marble nearby, the marble isn't pulled by the ball. No, it's just following the curve that the ball created. That, in a nutshell, is general relativity. The sun isn't pulling the Earth. It's bending the fabric of space-time, and the Earth is just rolling along that curve. And this is just a perfect example of his gift for making these insanely complex ideas feel intuitive. He saw himself as the one who was just lucky enough to notice the curve in the branch that the rest of us, the blind beetles, couldn't even perceive. And then came the proof. In 1919, a solar eclipse expedition confirmed that starlight actually bent around the sun, just like his theory said it would. This headline from the Times of London says it all. Literally overnight, Albert Einstein became the world's first scientific celebrity. But here's the thing, that incredible public triumph was masking a really deep, private tragedy. As his fame exploded, his marriage to Mileva just disintegrated. He actually gave her this list of cold, almost cruel conditions for them to keep living together. It's it's a really shocking glimpse into the pain behind that public face. And this wasn't just about his marriage. Even when he was a young man, he felt this crushing weight of family pressure and disappointment. He wrote this letter saying he felt like such a burden, he thought it'd be better if he wasn't alive. This is the vulnerable, despairing man behind the icon. And maybe, just maybe, it's that deep personal pain that gave him such a profound empathy for the suffering of others. You know, in the second half of his life, Einstein really leveraged his immense fame. He transformed from being a pure scientist into something of a global conscience, speaking out on the huge moral and political crises of his era. And if you look at this timeline, you see this incredible and honestly painful journey. He started out as a diehard pacifist, but when he saw the rise of Nazism, he was forced to abandon those absolute principles. He realized that some evils simply must be met with force, and that, tragically, led him to sign the letter to FDR about the atomic bomb, a decision he later called the one great mistake of his life. And even here in America, his adopted home, he felt the pressure. During the McCarthy era, he was just disgusted by the political intimidation, the attacks on intellectual freedom. You can feel his weariness in this quote, just wishing for a simpler, more independent life. But right up to the very end, despite all the political work and the crushing weight of global fame, Einstein remained what he had always been, a relentlessly curious mind, forever on a never-ending quest. After he finished general relativity, he spent the next 3 decades chasing an even bigger prize, a theory of everything, a single, beautiful equation that could unite gravity with all the other forces of nature. It became his white whale. He literally died with his equations by his bedside, still searching. And really, this is his ultimate legacy, isn't it? More than E equals mc squared, more than relativity, his entire life was a testament to the power of relentless, joyful, and defiant curiosity. And so we end right where we began, with a question. See, Einstein's real story isn't about some superhuman brain that was just dropped onto the planet. It's about a relentless, defiant curiosity. It reminds us that behind every myth, there's just a person asking questions. So, what question will you ask today?